Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a horror movie review and I'll be having a look at the movie World War Z, or World War Z depending on where we are in the world. So this is the Brad Pitt big budget zombie film that's recently come out, and this film had a kind of bit of a sort of preconception going in because it had a lot of trouble sort of in the shoot. There was reshoots and apparently it went massively over budget, and the only indications from the trailers was it was going to be a kind of a bit of a messy CGI fest. So is it like that? Well, the focus is on the character played by Brad Pitt called Gerry, and he's an ex-CIA agent, sort of intelligence gatherer, something along the lines of that. And of course, the action starts probably within about the first 10 minutes of this film. The outbreak starts, the zombie outbreak starts, and everyone's sort of scrambling around. And basically, the government wants Gerry to investigate what's caused this global outbreak, because they need to try and find the source of the virus to try and be able to find a cure for it. So he's sort of picked up by the sort of US government, and then goes on basically a kind of around the world mission to try and track down what's actually happened. In the meantime, his family are sort of held up in this kind of warship, which has really got the remainder of the sort of surviving of the human race on there, or part of them anyway. So is it as bad as everyone thought it might be? No, it isn't. I, to be honest with you, think this is the film that the Resident Evil franchise should have been. So this is kind of a low rating in regards to its parental viewing. So in the UK here it's a 15, and I believe in America it's a PG-13. So that you can get younger people going in and see this, just like the Resident Evil films. This film has got something that the Resident Evil films I don't think really have, and that's this really sort of tense atmosphere and this real sense of danger, whilst this sort of Resident Evil film tends to be a little bit more cartoony. Now, I don't know if necessarily everyone would agree with me about the sort of the Resident Evil comparison, but that was obviously based on a sort of a pathogen getting out and turning pretty much the world's populace into sort of zombies, very much like this film. But this film treats everything deadly serious, and one of the strengths of this film is the intelligence of the characters, and obviously the way they react in these sort of situations, and that's really to its strength. So everything is played dead straight. There's not really any sort of levity in this film, as you'd probably expect really from a kind of a serious zombie film. Now, you have got the kind of the running zombies in this one, so that necessarily might not be to everyone's sort of taste. I know there are some people who feel like obviously the slow moving zombies are the ones that we should have, but I actually quite like the idea of the fast moving zombies, because they do, I think, pose a bit more of a threat than just slow moving zombies, which I think, to be honest with you, could be probably fairly easy sort of contained. Now, I guess if I had to have a criticism of this film, I suppose it doesn't have a lot of variety in it. So really the film consists of Brad Pitt's character going from one location, getting attacked by lots of zombies, and then going to another location, getting attacked by lots of zombies, and kind of rinse and repeat it for about 4 times. Now the last third of this film is kind of, it does sort of slow down a little bit, and I believe this is the third of the film which was kind of had most of the reshoots, and I'm wondering if that was because they kind of wanted to sort of change it up and not have the same type of action that you had in the first two thirds. Now, I'm not saying that the first 2 thirds are bad. They're just they're just a bit different. It's bigger scale, certainly a lot more kinetic and frantic, whilst the last third it sort of kind of slows down with a lot less people, and I would say it's probably it tends in a different way to the rest of the film. Now, does it work? I think it does. I mean, there isn't a lot of gore in here. There are a couple of bits, but nothing too gory at all. But it has got this fantastic sort of sense of real sort of dread in the atmosphere, and you can really sort of you're kind of at the edge of your seat to sort of find out what's happening. Now, this is obviously based on a novel by Max Brooks. Now, I understand, I haven't actually read the novel myself, so I can't comment too much on that, but I understand it's quite a departure, because the book didn't have, as far as I understand, traditional narrative as such. It was more or less just kind of like excerpts of different people's experiences with the zombie apocalypse. Whilst this one really tells the story of this one man, Brad Pitt's character. And I guess the only other sort of maybe criticism you might say of this film, it doesn't really expand upon any other character really apart from Brad Pitt. There is a supporting cast here. It's a family back on the ship, but they're kind of most of the communication from them is just via phone. He does have this kind of female soldier that he sort of picks up along the way that kind of accompanies him for the sort of second half of the film. And I guess she's the closest to the supporting actor that you could say in this film. And I actually quite like her character, although she doesn't get a hell of a lot of dialogue, I have to say. Now, like I said, I don't think this is going to be for everyone if you're a real zombie aficionado, but I think just as a general horror audience, you really get, you'll get a good kick out of it. As an action film, I think you'll get a great kick out of it. It's an intelligent action film. It reminds me of these sort of Contagion films more so than necessarily some of the zombie films that we've seen. So I think if you were kind of to sort of mix up the Resident Evil film with the film Contagion, you would have this one, obviously, but a little bit more budget. Some of this CGI occasionally looks a little bit kind of wonky, but to be fair, a lot of these sort of shots are kind of quite far away, so you can't really focus too much on it. There's kind of one scene, I would say, where there's a zombie that looks particularly CGI, but it is only for about 5 seconds. The last third of the film, there's a lot more practical effects. So the zombies kind of look more like your sort of traditional zombies that you kind of may expect. The first two thirds we've probably seen in the trailers where all the zombies are sort of attacking en masse and everything. It's a really sort of interesting scene to watch, but most of the scenes they're quite quick edits, and as I say, you don't let sort of so much focus on it for too long, so you don't notice so much of the CGI. And then once you get to the last third or so, you pretty much forget about the CGI because the effects there look pretty much all practical. So I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I hope it's the beginning of a franchise, so I would definitely like to see more of this world. And it's nice to sort of see a zombie film taken with real seriousness and kind of given some sort of passion. Who I know Brad Pitt has championed this film and has stuck by it. So, fair play to him. And he should be proud of it because I think it's a really good horror film despite all the sort of the negativity that it's had sort of going into it. So 8 out of 10 for me. Go check it out. If you have seen it, let me know what you thought and how do you feel it compares to sort of modern zombie films. Leave me a comment. I look forward to you next time. Bye for now.